Keep in mind the slope means just a rate of change. What is the pattern of change? So this first line here has a positive slope. The second line here is going down across the page, so it has a negative slope. The third line is flat. It is not rising up and down or at any sense, so this has a slope of 0. And my last line, it's always going up and up and up, and it's never going across the page, so this would have what we call an undefined slope. In this situation, this is a graph of the line 1, 2, 3, x equals 3, because no matter what, you're always over on x equals 3, and the y number is constantly changing. So since slope is just the rate of change, we could find the slope of each of these lines. If I start with this first one, I see that it's rising up by 4 and over by 6, so this is a slope of 4/6, and if you reduce that fraction, it would be about 2/3. We can look at one more. This line is going down by 3 and over by 4, so this would be a slope of -3/4, down 3 over 4 as you work your way across the page. Here's the challenge now. Instead of being given the graph, we're only going to give you 2 points on the graph, and we expect you to come up with the line that will go through these 2 points on the graph. I'll make the graph just for you to reference, but otherwise we would normally not have the graph to look at. Here's the challenge now. Instead of being given the picture of the graph to count the rise and the run to find the slope, we are only given the numbers, and we have to calculate the slope and eventually even write the equation for that whole line that goes through the points. I'm going to draw the graph for us to use as a reference, but then I'll show you how to calculate the slope and write the equation. Okay, I have drawn for us the graph that goes through the point 3, 9 up here, and I have 5, 5. So what we want to do is we want to find the slope. How much is it rising and running across the page? Change in y over change in x. So the formula to find the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In other words, trying to find out how much do the y's change and divide by how much do the x change, a rate of change based on each other. So here we go. We're going to have x1, y1, and x2, y2. So we're just labeling our first point and second point. From there we can plug them into the formula. The y value, 5 minus y1 of 9, 5 minus 9 over the x values, 5 and 3. 5 minus 3, we end up with -4 over 2, and if we reduce -4 divided by 2, we end up with -2 as a slope. Now that we have a slope, we can try to write a line. Y equals mx plus b. The -2 for a slope, x plus, and we don't know the y-intercept yet, so I'm just going to put a b, and then we can try to find that. We're going to use one of the points from our problem. Let's use the point 3, 9. The x number was a 3, so for the x in my formula, I'll replace it with a 3, and for the y in my formula, I'll replace it with a 9, and drop down the slope and the unknown y-intercept. From here, I can solve the equation for the y-intercept. -2 times 3 is -6. Simplify that. And then to solve for b, cancel some -6 on both sides by adding 6. And we get b equals 15. Now I know the y-intercept, and I can write the final equation of my line. This is a line where y equals a slope of -2x plus 15. The y-intercept is up at 15, which fell off of our graph, and then as we went across the page, it went down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, a slope of -2. Let's try one more example quickly. We have the points 2, -5, and 6, -3. I'll label them x1 and y1, x2 and y2 appropriately for the first point and second point, and we want to write the equation of the line through these 2 points. So we're going to start by finding the slope. Subtract the y numbers, -3 minus -5 over, subtract the x numbers, 6 minus 2. So our graph changes up and down by -3 minus -5 would be 2, and 6 minus 2 is 4. 2/4 is the same as a slope of 1/2. From there, we want to try to write the equation. Y equals 1/2 x plus, and we still need to find the y-intercept. Use one of the points from your equation, doesn't matter which one, to put into your equation because you know that point will be an x and y value on this particular graph at 2, -5. So for the x, we're going to plug in the 2, and for the y, we will plug in the -5, drop down the slope and the unknown y-intercept, and solve. 1/2 of 2 is just 1, and drop down the rest, -5 equals 1 plus b. Cancel the plus 1 by subtracting 1 on both sides to solve for b, and we get b equals -6. So my y-intercept would cross at -6 here, and we can write our final equation. Y equals a slope of 1/2 x minus 6.